probably the hardest video I've ever sat down to record because hearing about my mom's death really shook something up inside of me, and I have felt an overwhelming amount of emotions. And I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to all of you if I didn't share a lot of the things that I felt, because I know I'm not alone in these feelings. And so let's just get into it. I'm gonna get comfortable here, and probably be a lot of tears and a lot of emotions that come up. And I am happy to be back. Whew. Hello, my beautiful muses. I am back on here. It's been a few weeks. I've had a lot of different things happening. I was very stressed out for like 2 to 3 weeks. I was not sleeping well. I was super overwhelmed, and I was really struggling with just feeling exhausted. And this is before I found out that my mom passed. My nervous system was just more on edge. I just felt this, like, it was just this intense energy. And looking back, I feel like maybe they were connected, like maybe my body and my soul just kind of knew that I was going to get this news, because she didn't just recently pass, she passed away back in September. I just found out a couple weeks ago in March. And so, this is hard. I want to make this video, even though it's been so hard for me to even talk about it with people that I love and friends, and even my husband. It's been hard for me to talk about with him because I have felt so many different emotions. And I think the first thing I felt as I was going and navigating, like the initial shock also of me finding out, and I'll get into details eventually. I don't know that today will be the day that I get into details of how I found out and what happened, because I think that was just traumatizing within itself. And then just a slew of different feelings came up for me, because if you're new to my channel and you don't know much about my story, my mom and I have not had a relationship for the last 12 years. And so when I found out, it was just this big feeling of there never being a possibility anymore, right? I think there was a part of me always, since I've been working on healing on my mother wound and all the things that we had, the complications we had in our relationship, and really just forgiving her from my heart and my soul. I feel like there's a part of me that always felt like maybe, just maybe, we would have a relationship again. And when somebody passes away in your life, all possibilities are taken from you. Everything that you wanted or thought that could be possible, it all just gets stripped from you. And so that was really hard within itself. But the thing that after a couple days that kept coming up for me, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to sit down and make this episode, is that I kept feeling just broken. I felt so many emotions, and it was so hard to understand why I was feeling all those emotions, where they were coming from, and allowing myself to just feel them, which is hard for somebody like me, because I've worked really hard to understand my emotions, to feel my emotions, to be aware of them, not react to them, but just respond, and all these different things. But when I got a slew of emotions, shame, guilt, sadness, anger, all these different things that popped up for me, it was really hard for me not to feel like I was about to snap. Like I had zero capacity for anything else. My mind wasn't clear. I was going through so many different heart emotions, and I just felt broken. Is what I told my husband. It was hard to explain to him why I felt broken, but I just did. I felt broken. And I think the reason I felt broken is because I was so overwhelmed with so many different emotions and different things. And never having felt all of this, even though my dad passed away when I was 18, I did feel a slew of emotions there too, because I wasn't close to him either. But it was different than now losing my mom at almost 36. I found out before my birthday, which was also this month, which I'll get into in a little bit here too, and how I navigated that. And so if you're going through grieving, if you recently lost someone, or you lost them a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you still feel all these overwhelming emotions, just know that it's okay. Like, you're not broken. That's what I've had to really reframe and rewire my brain into believing, because the reason I felt broken is because I couldn't understand where all these feelings were coming from and why I was feeling these feelings. And so they just felt like a big rush of things, and things that I just didn't feel like I had control over, and I wanted to so badly control and so badly not feel, right? And so I kept flip-flopping between completely feeling broken and just wanting to stay in bed and like, woe is me, and just cry my eyes out for days at a time, even though I didn't allow myself to do it. But I would go from either that or just wanting to like numb and not feel, because whenever I sat with it, it just felt like too much to handle. And that's the broken part and that broken piece that came in for me. And so if you're feeling that now, if you're feeling that, or you have felt that, you're not broken. You're just a human. We're not meant to understand our emotions. And in some ways, it is beautiful that we get to feel this deeply, right? That somebody in my life, my mother, right? Somebody that I came from, caused me to feel all of this when she passed. And sure, a lot of it wasn't pretty because a lot of it came with traumas and triggers. And I almost felt like the 19-year-old self of me that left and moved out on her own and did her own thing. I felt like her again, scared, afraid, guilty, shameful that I left my mom, that she didn't have me anymore, that I wasn't taking care of her, all these different feelings. And I felt like I was almost responsible for what happened to her and how she passed away. And I realized this recently, that shame and guilt is what keeps us feeling stuck, because the emotions itself that I was feeling while I was grieving, and then I'm still feeling now as I'm grieving and as I'm thinking about the past, as we're talking, like my sisters and I actually started talking again, which has been a blessing throughout all of this. And I know God has purpose for everything, so that's been beautiful. So even us talking about my mom and anything that comes up for me just now, I just feel those are all beautiful emotions to just sit with. But the shame and the guilt that comes in two parts for me, the shame and the guilt that comes from, like I said, how she passed away and me not being there, me maybe could I have done more, could I have helped more, all these questions, but also shame and guilt in how bad I've felt about this and how hard it's been for me. Because part of me thinks like, you should just be over it. Why is this so hard for you? Other people have it worse. Other people lose their moms that they're actually were close to, and people have tragic deaths that just happen. And then there's shame and guilt around that. And I cannot compare myself to anyone. I can just allow myself to feel. And that's really hard. And I think if you're watching this and you can relate at all, I think feeling so much in our bodies just feels so hard sometimes. It feels tense, it feels overwhelming, it feels out of control. And I've had to sit with the uncomfortability of that, knowing that there's purpose in that pain and being able to hold that and being able to just be okay with how I feel and not going into the spiraling of the shame and the guilt. Because when I think of those emotions that come up, they're not just emotions, they're tied to stories that I've made up in my mind of how things could have been, should have been, could I have done this more, could I have done that more, what's wrong with me, why do I feel broken, why am I not okay to work right now, why am I not okay to like service my clients right now, why am I not okay to do this, why am I not okay to do that. And it comes with those stories. It doesn't just, the shame and the guilt are tied to stories that aren't true. And I realized that that was keeping me stuck more than the sadness and the grieving itself. That staying in that spiraling energy of thoughts and what could have been and all that was just keeping me stuck more. And so now I do feel like I'm on the other side. I did go on a trip for my birthday that we had planned to go to Jackson Hole, Wyoming for a few months. Everything was already bought and paid for. And I thought about canceling the trip. I argued a few times with my husband because I tried pushing him away. I've tried doing all these different things. I like reverted back to like my 19-year-old self, like I said, in so many ways emotionally because of this big trigger of my mom's passing. And thankfully I have a sane enough, steady enough husband to get me inside of like, maybe you still need this trip. Let's just go and we don't have to do much. Let's just go and disconnect. And that really helped me. And that's something else I wanted to share, is that God keeps showing me and keeps giving me different times in my life here recently, in the last 2 years specifically, how two things can coexist and how duality is okay and how you could be sad and joyful and one doesn't take away from the other. And I felt really, again, guilty and shameful even when I first went on the trip and I was getting ready and doing my makeup and getting dressed up to go to dinner and stuff. I was like, how can I be happy right now? How can I give myself this joy and happiness when something so ugly just happened? When somebody who gave birth to me, somebody who was a big part of my life, my whole life, just passed away, I should just be sad. I should just be mourning. And not that the trip is super easy, like there was definitely moments where I still felt anxious, sad, depressed. I even had like claustrophobia all over again. I haven't had that in like 15 years. I know that our minds are powerful and a lot of these things that we feel is just our nervous system's just having enough, like not having enough capacity. Like we were actually going to go up a tram. I thought it was a gondola. Like we've gone up gondolas plenty, you know, and it's just 2 people, 3 people, whoever you go in the gondola with. Sometimes there's other people, but I thought we were going up a gondola to go up to the top of this mountain and have like this view. And it was actually a tram, and it was just like all the skiers and snowboarders of that mountain. And there was like at least, I don't know, 30 people jam-packed into this little tram. And TJ and I were about to get in towards the end where by the door is, and I looked at TJ and I was like, I can't. And I just like walked away, and he was like, I think he was like more scared than anything because I don't think I've ever told him like I can't do something. And he was like, what's wrong? What are you feeling? And it was a full body no. Like my body was like, we can't even breathe right now. We're not stuffing ourselves like sardines in a tin can to go up a mountain. Like my body was just like a full no. And I had to be okay with that, right? And just feel really, even then, broken that, I didn't think I was gonna cry this much. So just bear with me this episode. It was hard for me to even be like, I just can't do that right now. Like I just can't. you know? And that showed me even more that it's so hard for me to be vulnerable when I feel such big emotions like this. Growing up, I never had a space where I can share my emotions. My mom was a Hispanic mom. I grew up with the very, like, why are you crying? I'll give you something to cry about type of things. I couldn't express my emotions, let alone have a safe space where I can feel, voice, be vulnerable. I never had that. And so this is something I've been practicing, like the last, I was gonna say my whole adult life, but that's not true. At least from 29 and 36, whatever that is, I've been practicing feeling my emotions, responding to my emotions, taking care of myself and voicing them. And again, that's a lot easier when I just feel angry or when I just feel sad around my period or something. That's easier for me to communicate even with my husband than communicating to him that I am so overwhelmed and I don't even know how to explain it to you. I just know I can't get on a tram because my body is just at capacity and I can't even barely breathe. Granted, that morning, I did tell him a few times that morning, I just felt like really short of breath, anxious. My sisters and I were talking that morning about making plans to just have a little ceremony for the family on my mom and spread her ashes and doing all that. And I think just like having that thought and then not being able to breathe right, and I just felt so overwhelmed. And so if you look, I just posted actually today on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, go follow me. I posted some pictures of our trip, and if you look at the trip, it's just like, oh, it looks so beautiful, right? Like that's what Instagram is, that's what social media is. Everything is just this like beautiful highlight reel of people's lives, and I try to be as open and like real as possible and like take down the curtains and let you in and like what's really going on in our lives. And when looking at those pictures and looking at the moments we had, like we had fun. Like, those moments are real. Like my husband is my best friend. I love spending time with him. And also it was a very hard trip because of everything else that was coming up for me. It's hard to sleep some nights, and some other nights I slept like a baby. I was able to catch up on sleep. So again, duality, right? We're so hard on ourselves. We were never taught that feeling everything is okay. That it doesn't mean anything about you. That me feeling broken for a week, 2 weeks, whatever, doesn't mean I am broken. I just feel broken, and it's okay to feel broken. No one teaches us that feelings are okay, but the spiraling and the stories that we attach to them are not okay, because those are the ones that keep us stuck. Those are the ones that keep us in loops. Those are the ones that keep us feeling like there's something really wrong with us, and it makes us feel shameful if there's something wrong with us versus just saying it's okay to feel that. And then of course the duality of life, right? That there always will be, to some extent and some degree, happiness and sadness, joyful moments and stressful moments, moments of anger and moments of peace, all within the same time frame, and that one does not have to take away from the other, and that you can experience them both fully in your heart and your body and in your soul. No one teaches us any of this. And that's why it's my greatest life purpose to help women with this, because it's something I have always struggled with, and as you can see, continue to struggle with. And I just struggle with them at different capacities now, right? Like greater capacities, I guess. And I do want to say before I end this episode that losing a parent feels like you're losing a foundational part of yourself, especially when you're not ready to lose them, when you're not ready to end that story, right? Like it's just taken from you. Sure, I chose to not speak to my mom, but it wasn't a choice I wanted to make. And so if you're experiencing this, or if you lost anyone that you love, I will say, I see you, you're not broken. It's okay to feel all the things that you feel. Notice your thoughts, because I've been an even bigger observer of my thoughts recently, because I can see where they could spiral. I can see where my traumas and triggers are coming in. I can see where I'm pushing my husband away, where I want to recluse myself, where I want to be alone, where I just need to be alone with my sadness sometimes, but also times where I'm just like, no one understands. Let me just not even say anything to people. Notice all of that, because it's all okay. Just don't let it create stories. Don't let the thoughts in your mind become your reality. Just experience the feeling in your body. Tune in. I've been really intentional lately on just breathing more. As silly as that sounds, like I said, I've been short of breath. I've just been breathing more. And God knows that I need to breathe more. And actually, as soon as we came back, I had ordered this whole like area. I'm sitting right in our bedroom. We have this little outside area in our bedroom, and I had ordered some stuff for out there, and TJ had like worked on putting the beanbag chair together, whatever. He was going to bring it up. He's like, can you help me just grab it from the bottom? And the only reason I'm sharing this story is because God will give you what you need. I went to go grab it, help him with it. It wasn't like it was super heavy or anything. It was just an angle, I guess I grabbed it in, and like what I did, I like pulled it up and I pulled my back, like to the point where I could not breathe. And like I just felt, first of all, like an old person. I just turned 36, and I was like, what the heck is happening to me? Am I just like breaking apart now? And almost instantly, because I've trained my mind to do this, I said to myself, I need to slow down. I need to breathe. I need to be mindful. Like the breath just got taken from me. I need to come back to me. And so I hope this helped one person, anyone. And if you know anyone that this video would help, please share it with them and comment in the comments section. I think a lot of the healing for me is doing this, sharing my story with you guys, and I would love to hear more and relate to whatever you're going through or have gone through. And I appreciate every single one of you, and I will be back more consistently again. I don't know how often right now because this just felt aligned to come and talk to you, and I had to pray about it. I really asked God to give me the words because I didn't even know how to talk about this. Like I said, to even the people that I love the most and they're super close to me and that know me. And so thank you for allowing me to share with you guys and be open with you guys. And I love every single one of you that watches this, and I will be back soon.